Hi, and welcome to She's the Boss Show Live. After all sorts of technical difficulties, I've managed to get it working. I just want to quickly say that this show is all about shining a light on female founders and women doing extraordinary things in business. And let me tell you, my friend here, Joanne Brooks, who has obviously a great name, is definitely that woman. So ticking all the boxes. Welcome, Joanne.
Oh, thank you. It's always lovely to connect with you, Jules. And you're a great friend and a great supporter of women in business. I think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. And I do apologize for the technical issues. And if you're looking at this and there's a weird description, I'm going to have to go in and change it later.
Yeah.
But enough of me getting caught up in the technology shitty stuff. Let's talk about you. So let's start off with, do you want to tell everyone what the name of your business is and what you do and why you've set it up? Nice.
Yeah. Easy. Navig8Biz. And it's a funny word because it's got the letter 8 in it. So done deliberately. And so Navig8Biz was formed about 7 years ago. Yeah. After a lot of interesting stuff that happened in my life, personally and business-wise, which I'll go back to in a sec.
Right.
But Navig8Biz was created to put a dent in the failure rates of small business in Australia.
Oh,
because
love that. It's 97% or something, isn't it?
Well, it's whatever the percentage is, who bloody cares what it is? It's just too big, right?
Yeah.
It's just too big. And people enter a business like that. Maybe they are really good at selling pens or making pens or something.
Yeah.
Like that. And so what I know is that people have a level of genius that they bring. I've got an idea. I'm going to sell it, whether it's a product or service. And I will often ask them and say, so, you've started the business. That's awesome. So the next question is, what's your exit? And they go, what? What are you talking about? I haven't started yet. What the hell are you talking about? Because what I know is if we don't run the business with the exit in mind, when we get there, we're going to be pretty bloody disappointed, most likely.
Yes.
Because you get there.
Or as somebody said to me, you might not even know you've got there if you don't set yourself a goal and you just keep going, when am I going to be?
When am I going to stop? And your exit can be anything. It could be walk away. That's really valid. It could be selling, merging. It could be franchising, could be listing on the stock exchange, any myriad of things.
Yeah.
But unless you know what success looks like and feels and tastes and gives you goosebumps, unless you know that, and when you get there, do you know you've arrived? Because what I know about people in business is often we pay ourselves last, and it's our retirement plan, right?
Yeah.
It is the plan. It is our superannuation. And so the last thing I want is somebody to get there and go, shit, I can't.
I'm not going to be able to survive on $5,000.
I can't. So, a lot of people say to me, oh, you're talking about the future, Joanne, hasn't arrived yet. Yeah, I know. I get that. But if you know what it's going to look like in 5, 10, 20 years, let's reverse engineer to go, what are the 3 things we need to do today that speaks to that exit? What are the little micro things we can do that builds the value in my business so that when I get there, I'm getting the return on investment that I deserve?
Yeah.
Not necessarily what I need, but what I deserve, because you put your heart, blood, sweat, and tears and, turn grey hair and all that sort of stuff to get there. And then you go, shit, it hasn't happened and I can't.
I think that is very timely and great for you to be talking about this now. But we have to talk about the fact that you're not just talking about, theoretical things. You've done this, haven't you?
I have.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to this hot pot?
Yes, indeed. So I started my first business at the age of about 40.
Right.
And
I love that as well, just in itself. Anyone listening, just go for it. Doesn't matter how old you are.
And that was 21 yeyears ago. So I'm 61. So, I started a new version of my business just recently. So it's just a bloody number. Who cares?
Exactly.
So at 40, and I shared with you the other day, the impetus to get me into business was that my first husband committed suicide, and there was a lot of pressure put on me. And so that was the thing at the back of the head that sometimes we need in life. Yeah. I was a very different person. I was very quiet, very shy, not the outgoing orange girl that I am today.
Rock star, I was going to say.
That I am today. But it had me thinking, I need something effing better in my life. And so I felt I needed to take control. And I don't really like talking about taking control anymore, because it's about having a choice, being empowered to do something different. So I decided to start a business, and I'll be the first to say I really stuffed that up and didn't do it as well as I could have, because I had the arrogance to believe that I knew all these people. I was just going to start a business about what I used to do as a job, and they'll all just bloody come, won't they? I'll have lots of money, time, and
you wouldn't be the only woman who thought that. I wouldn't have thought.
shit, I need another thing at the back of the head, because that's wrong, right? So you've got to get yourself out there. But 20 years later, I've since launched about 17 companies with great success and not so great success. So happy to celebrate the things that didn't go well.
No, but it's great that you talk about, because we learn so much from things that don't go well.
We absolutely.
But you did have a massive exit, didn't you? Can you touch on that?
I did have a massive exit, but let me talk about what got me to that massive exit.
Okay, yes, do.
Is that I launched a business. I went into business with some of my largest competitors in the country. I was an education firm, so I was this big, and I was working with and partnering with companies that were doing 1,000 times more than what I was doing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But I recognised it was in the registered training organisation space, in the vocational education, delivering diplomas, etc. So I knocked on the door of my biggest competitors and said, I know you have a gap in your process. I'm going to fill it. I'm going to charge 7 times what you charge, and I'm going to give you a percentage of what I do. And here's everything that I do. I had it all ready. I had the workflows, I had the emails, I had the staff, I had the systems, I had everybody, and said, knock, knock, knock. Can I come and take some of your funding to facilitate my growth? But I'm going to do it, and you can have full access to my business. And I did that with 5 different large companies.
Hang on a minute. I just need to understand that a little bit more. So they had an RTO and you had a particular topic. And so you said, put me into your business and let me have access to your clients, but they get a cut of it, or they get...
No, I was, they had funding as an RTO. And I knew through the government, I knew that if they used too much, if they spent too much, they would lose it. But if they didn't use it all, they would also lose it. So I went in and said, let me fill the bit that you're not utilising. I'll take it. Thank you very much. So with no effort from you, I'm going to find my own clients through my own processes. And I just want you to let me have some of that funding, and I'll give you a percentage of my income.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I realised there was a gap. So I was charging 7 times what they were charging for a diploma in business.
Right.
And they went, well, yeah, a percentage of something's better than a percentage of nothing. And their percentage actually equated to what they were charging for their full diploma. So I was charging 35 grand for a diploma in 7 years.
They were charging 7.
7.
Right.
They were receiving 7, but mine was, I had a business owner, and we created a business plan, a marketing plan, a website, financial advice. They did a diploma.
Everything.
All this stuff.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. So that was going enormously well. Fantastic. We were having great progress with our students. We were getting them completed at a rate of 80%, when the industry standard at the time was that number, 3%.
God.
It was bloody awful. But that was using automation and utilising my team to be really engaged with the students, because it was all online. Yeah. And so that grew to 30 million in 24 months as a turnover. It was insane.
Oh, my God.
That was insane. And
okay.
So what I share with a lot of women in business is to say, most people think that the biggest challenge in business is failure, is the reduction in business.
Rather than growth.
But fast growth like that, I think that's harder, because I went 2 staff to 100 staff in a really short space of time. Can you imagine doing the interviews and the onboarding and
I can't actually.
training?
Yeah.
It's really jolly hard. So we had to have as much automation as possible in that business. But sadly, because there was a lot of really crappy players in that space back then, you know, come to a Tupperware party and we'll sign you up for a diploma. Let's have pizza for a year was the worst I heard, and you'll get a diploma.
Yeah, what I was hearing was people going around and knocking on doors and saying, if you do this, we'll give you an iPhone, or you get, you know, like all rubbish. Yeah.
Pretty awful. And so the government just turned it off.
Yeah.
So for huge lesson for me, diversity of income stream, you know, and I was just about to launch doing something else, and I was about a month out. But my suppliers, the large RTOs, said, no more, we're turning it off. And so they turned it off with a week's notice. And so I had to make the decision.
So hang on, did they just close the whole business down in a week?
They did. Well, they just turned off the income.
Right.
So I had to make the decision, can I keep going and wait for this other opportunity to go live? And I went, you know what? It was November in 2016. And I said to my board, I don't want to get to close to December and go, oh, I actually can't. Damn it. Sorry, you're out of a job. I said, I can't help myself with that. So I called a meeting with 100 people, and we had no Zoom then. It was a conference call on the phone, right? It was a conference call. And I said, sadly, I'm closing the business today.
Wow.
So I just turned it off. It took 6 years to completely close it out because it was a large company.
Yeah.
You know what was a beautiful lesson here, Jules, was the next breath I said to them, I've got 4 offices. I would like to get the furniture out so I can sell it before the liquidators come in. Who might like to stay and help me move furniture?
Yeah.
Most of them did. No pay.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I went, oh my God. You know, one of the biggest lessons I had as a leader of a team of people, it doesn't matter how many, is that it's like children. They're always watching and absorbing what you're doing. And that was such an epiphany for me. I had no sense of that whatsoever.
Right.
Just thought we're getting on with our day, right?
Yeah, yeah. But that's an absolute bomb that you dropped. But I don't understand. So did it go into administration? I thought you made a mozza. And
I did while it was being built, absolutely.
Right.
But I had to liquidate it.
Right. Okay. So what came next?
Navig8Biz. So,
right. So then you teach other people how to do it.
Yeah. So, you know, and I tell a lot of people, I'm happy to share it. It brought me to my knees, that liquidation. So I lost everything, houses, cars, property, the works. So 57, I started back at complete zero.
Well, I created women speakers this year and I'm 57, so I get it.
Happy days. And, you know, look, I feel I've got an MBA in business as a result of this, if you want to.
Absolutely. I mean, hardly anyone's had the experience you've had.
Yeah. And so for me, it's about sharing with women in business, do it this way or don't, but be aware of the consequences. And so I often will ask myself, what if I did this? Then the next question is, what's the consequence of that?
No, I was going to say, so what's your plan for Navig8Biz? Because clearly you set it up, you know, knowing what age you were at and what you wanted to do. Yeah. Is the idea going to be close it down or are you going to sell it?
No, I'm actually going to put licensees in. So I've got a program called Her Transformation. And so the Her Transformation program is about reconnecting women to the purpose of their business.
Oh my God, I love it.
Because what I know is we become somebody's wife or partner, the dog owner, the parent, and we often will lose our identity in the busyness of the things that we do as women, you know, whatever. So let's reconnect the purpose, because I know how it feels to have a business and you go, oh shit, I don't want to go to work today. This is really hard.
If anything I can say, I've never had that feeling.
But I get it. Yeah, and it's easy to, because that business was growing at such a bloody pace, I lost that connection to my purpose. And for the last 6 months of that business existence, I went, I really feel sick. I don't want to go to work. And it was really profitable. It was doing great. All these wonderful.
Or was it just growing too fast and too big? And you just were like, what the hell have I created a monster?
Correct. Too fast. And I would never grow a business at that pace. Way too fast. Should have.
Although that's now, so for anyone listening, we'll have to say that is the dream for a lot of women. Be careful what you wish for.
Correct. So nothing wrong with dreaming for business success, but do it at a pace that you can manage it and that you can implement it well and stick to the mission and stick to the goals so that you can pop out the other end with the exit that you deserve, as I said. So So Her Transformation is about reconnecting women to business, be inspired about the size of their business opportunity, because most people don't understand We now have a screen. We now have a global business. And, you know, when I talk to people about the size of their business opportunity, I said, we're going to whack a whole bunch of zeros on the end of that because it's much bigger than you realize.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And working with women, one of the things that I notice is that people think quite small, or a lot of them do. Not all of them, obviously.
Yes.
But, you know, you just kind of go, unless you're a milk bar or a hairdresser, and even in those cases, there are obviously opportunities to franchise.
Yes.
But
yes.
really, you know, you should at least be thinking state or national, and ideally international. If you've got an online business, there's no limits.
Go big, yeah. And, you know, a lot of people will say to me, but I don't want to be a $30 million business.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's perfectly fine. But you stay small, you stay at bigger risk of business failure.
Yeah.
You know, tapping back to why I started Navig8. Let's not be a statistic and not be the person who goes home and hopes that the husband doesn't notice that the profit's not coming in and that you've missed the kids' soccer match because you're so bloody busy with work.
Yeah.
Let's put a lot of good systems and processes in place, which is what the transformation element of this program is. Let's look at what you're doing. And at the very end of it, I do a scalability assessment to go, well, let's look under the hood at your business. You've now reconnected. You understand you've got big goals. You know there's some action to be taken. But let's look under the hood and see what systems and processes and documents and contracts and client database, what does it all look like so that we can work towards the goal you've just determined, and let's get that scalability going in your business. So for me, this is my passion project, and it's been a 25-year in the making, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that I just created 12 months ago. It's something that I'm hugely passionate about because I want women to come home and have their kids say to them, I'm really proud of you, Mum.
Yeah.
I want that.
I think every mum would like that too.
I would love that. Yeah. And I'm really blessed that my daughter said that to me during COVID. So she's a marketing executive and she got put down, as many people did, because there was not enough work going on. And she started a business in the middle of COVID. And I said, I'm so proud of you, kiddo. She was 24 at the time. And she said to me, which always gives me goosebumps, look who my teacher was, Mum.
Yeah, my son said, I've got 3 boys, and one of my 18-year-olds came out with something like that at the end of last year about, we've watched you, we understand work ethic, we understand what it is to make change. And I was like, oh my God, I want to cry.
Oh, it makes me just so
cry with happiness.
It's lovely.
Okay, so Joanne, let's talk specifically about the services or the products that you offer, and then I'm going to ask you to share some stories of working with people. But if someone wants to work with you, what are the actual programs that you have or the services you have now?
So the main one is her transformation. So it's the program that there's a private Facebook group. They can come in and experience what it's about. But, you know, for me, it's about making that difference with women. It's an 8-week online program. They get a lot of me in there as video. I've had it all professionally.
Yeah, well done.
Professionally done. But I bring in some guest coaches, and you know some of them. So Jules, you know Jane Vandermeer.
Yes.
Incredibly important for me for these women to have a styling session with Jane.
Yes.
About confidence, right? And it's and the clothes that we wear is our beautiful armor that makes us go, I feel bloody good today.
Absolutely.
Right? So important. You will probably know Simone de Haas, who does some work on.
I know of her.
And speaking, I've got Brahman, who talks about unconscious bias, and I've got another beautiful lady from New Zealand, Gayleen, who talks about does a profile on contribution compass. So it's wrapping up this beautiful feeling good about yourself physically, learning the skills from me online, group mentoring, one-on-one. So that's I've got lots of little other tools.
I was going to say, do you also work with people one-on-one rather than doing her transformation? Can people sort of engage you as a consultant?
Yes, indeed. And so that could be the initial piece, that we have some one-on-one coaching, mentoring with me.
Yeah.
We might transition into that program. So absolutely. So essentially that's the 2 that I do.
Wow, amazing. And they sound like, you know, a dream, really, I would think, for most women. Now, talk to me. Can you give me a couple of examples? We've got about another 10 minutes. So you want to give me a couple of stories of people you've worked with and how it's helped them?
I can. So it was actually the first lady I think of is a lady who was a staff member for a while of Navig8Biz.
Oh, yeah. She was the one who stayed behind with you? And was it one of the people who stayed behind with you when you closed down the other business?
No, she actually became a new employee. So she joined as a new person. She was a young girl. She was a marketing gal. And then I discovered she wasn't very loud and proud about it, but she had this business called Soul Shoes. And it was about making shoes out of things that are not animal products. So she made them
like cactus leather and
yes,
those kind of things, mushroom leather. Yep.
Right. And we were always doing these live conversations and podcasts. And at one point we decided, let's just interview Grace and what she's all about, because she was a young gal bringing it in from overseas. And I discovered the deeper why of why she was doing it. And she really wanted to have people understand that to wear clothes that are not animal products, because the animal product manufacture was causing such degradation.
The leather, I mean, blew my mind. I was working with a woman who was making cactus leather bags, and it's something like each hide is something like a normal person's 3-day use of water or something.
It's insane. It's just insane. And, we started talking. I said to you, Grace, I just thought you liked shoes was why you were making these really cool shoes. Said, no. And I said, so how many people know this about you and what you do, why you do it?
She went, no one.
No, nobody. I went, oh, man, come on in. And so we really worked on her sharing that story. And she just saw the business grow and grow, which was really, it was just so satisfying, because she was deeply passionate about it, but she didn't connect that she needed to tell her story and share it and work that through. So we shared with her, well, what's the size of your audience? There was a lot of zeros added to that, right? And she just got stupidly busy. She was working out of her apartment with her partner, and the room was full of boxes of shoes and to get them out. And so it was really lovely to, it was surprising that this person had been working with me for a while as an employee, and I never extracted that out of her. But when I did, I just saw her face light up, and she just got so excited, and I just loved seeing that. So that was that.
Where is Soul Shoes now? I mean, is it online?
It was always online. So she operates it out of now.
I was going to say she got it out of the apartment now.
Yes, well, it's out of her new apartment. She lives out at Emerald now in country Queensland, and
beautiful.
That added extra challenges in the logistics, right?
Because I bet.
On the Gold Coast, and anyway, she's worked all that out, so she's doing insanely well, which I'm really pleased.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that. Have you got another juicy story?
I do. So we had a beautiful gal going through the program, and she worked. This is Siobhan, and she works for a company called Perks, and I'm happy to speak about it. I know she'd be happy too. So Perks is PERKX. And so it's a platform that brings wellness opportunities for employers for their employees.
Okay.
It's a huge platform that people can pay a small subscription for and access their services. But Siobhan decided to join it because she took on the role of general manager for Australia, and she'd not had that type of role. So she's not an employee. She's not an employer.
No, but still running the business.
Executive, right? And so she dived into this program, and I just physically saw the shift in her posture and how she spoke about it. She's since received an award through Women's Network Australia as creating impact in business.
Oh, brilliant.
And she just talks about how it just had made her change her thinking process, her mindset. She said when she had Jane give her styling session, she went, wow, I thought I nailed it, but Jane just really gave me a new
opened up her eyes
of how she could present herself, because all of it's done via the screen for Siobhan. So it's She's based in Perth, right? There's not as much face-to-face stuff going on. And so I literally saw the physical change in the way she spoke about her role and her confidence. Well, she was a confident girl to begin with. She would go to Africa and do volunteering, and she did all these amazing things, but she didn't connect back as truly to herself with the role that she was performing. And so I just saw the bigger goals being created and getting very excited. The team is growing, and Perks is doing better than ever. And I know she's been nominated for another award this year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I just love that.
Yeah, I think the shift in my, but a big difference is having someone go on that journey with you. And if you're GM of a company that's not based out of Australia, if you're starting your own company, it's almost the same as working by yourself.
On your own.
And you need that feedback. You need that person to go on the journey and someone to bounce the ideas off. So I love it. That's what we're doing.
And so we connected regularly. We'd catch up every week for the group mentoring. And as I just said, I saw the shift in her commentary, her tone, and the way she spoke about it. And to pop out the other end to go, I now understand what I meant to do and how I can speak about it. And I just went, that's bloody beautiful.
Job done. Tick, tick. Oh, you're amazing. If somebody's been listening to this and they want to be part of her transformation, or they just want a little part of your amazing brain, what is the best way for someone to contact you?
Just go directly to the website, and I will spell it because it is spelled.
Yeah, do. Well done.
So www.navig8biz.com. You'll find everything there.
Brilliant. And just before we go, you said there's a reason for that 8. I'm guessing it might be Chinese, but tell me, what's the reason?
Because it's infinite. Business growth.
I love it. Clever. I like that. I thought, whereas you could definitely go out to the Chinese market, because there's an 8 means wealth. So
all those things. But the main idea was it's the infinity.
I love that. I love that. Well, I hope people go to Navig8Biz to get hold of you. Jules. Thank you so much. I just want to say as well, a huge thank you to Eve John from Boardroom 51, who is sponsoring this live stream show. Eve specializes in helping women get their first board position and or their first paid board position. Yeah. So it's an absolutely great fit and something that I'm very proud to be working with her. Also, if you like the idea of She's the Boss and are looking for your tribe, please go to she'sthebossgroup.com and have a little look. We have stacks of events on between now and the end of the year. I think I've got another 15. So feel free to go on and book yourself into one of the events. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, which this should be going through the LinkedIn feed, or join our She's the Boss group Facebook group, where we've got over 4,000 heavily engaged and fabulous women. I also coach women and mentor women, particularly around how to raise their profile and become a woman of influence. And recently I started a directory for women speakers at womenspeakers.com.au. We've also got Facebook and LinkedIn groups at Australian Women Speakers. My theory there is if we bring all the women together, we're going to make it easier to find, and we'll change the stat from 30 to 50%. But Joanne, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I've loved our chat, and I love